Wells is from the International Committee of Red Cross. She joins me now from Belfast in Northern Ireland. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Now,
Thank you
let's
for
take a
having me.
look at the humanitarian aspect of things in Ethiopia. Now, moving into Sudan, hospitals are almost, if not at full capacity, in the Tigray region, particularly in Mekelle. And we don't know when this conflict is going to come to an end, and people are going to need medical attention now more than ever. How is the ICRC planning to get aid to the people in need?
Sure. I guess just stepping back, we are facing a pretty dire humanitarian crisis in the region in just under a month because of fighting. And there's a lot, honestly, that we don't know about the real scale of the needs across the Tigray region, just because it is so hard to verify reports with phone and internet down. But what is very clear is that thousands and thousands of people have been displaced from their homes, and hospitals that we have visited as the ICRC are running dangerously low on medical supplies. Our team visited one major referral hospital in Mekelle on Saturday and found this hospital to be dealing with a large number of trauma wounds, all while running out of very basic medical supplies, from gloves to antibiotics to painkillers to drugs that are needed to basically stop bleeding and trauma surgery. And this follows some of our other findings when we visited hospitals a couple of weeks ago in North Amhara, which received wounded in really the first week of fighting. We found them too to be dangerously low on medical supplies. Now, we were able to restock those hospitals and healthcare facilities in North Amhara. We've been able to get first aid supplies to our partner, the Ethiopia Red Cross, for their ambulance services. And we're discussing now with authorities to get relief supplies into Mekelle, in particular medical supplies, because they are so clearly very urgently needed.
Well, more than 40,000 people have already fled into Sudan. That's a massive amount of people moving to the south. How much more people is the ICRC expecting to flee if this conflict doesn't come to an end in the near future?
I think it's genuinely hard to speculate and to give an accurate prediction of the figures. I mean, but if you just look at that alone, then in less than a month, you've had more than 40,000 people stream across the borders from Ethiopia into Sudan, and really with nothing but the clothes on their backs. It just shows really how dire this situation is. And there's also a lot of people displaced around Tigray itself. And those figures are harder to really paint an accurate picture of. But this coming week, our team hopes to deliver some essential relief items, things like sleeping mats and so forth, to about 7,300 displaced people in West Tigray.
Right. Now, the camps in Sudan, as you mentioned, are already overwhelmed, and they're not equipped to house more people in their thousands. What are some of the aid operations the ICRC is expected to conduct in the region and at the camps there?
Sure. So a big focus of ours, obviously, inside of Ethiopia is really looking at these very frontline life-saving medical needs to try and support hospitals and healthcare facilities to have the basic supplies that they need to not only be able to deal with trauma wounds, but also to be able to deal with the medical needs that will exist whether there's fighting or not. Things like this hospital that we visited on Saturday is also running out of supplies to do things like kidney dialysis, which isn't an emergency necessarily, but is equally life-threatening if they cannot continue to do it. Another big focus of ours, while it's so important to obviously get people medical care and supplies and water, is to also help families contact their loved ones. And this has really been a challenge in this crisis because phone and internet has been down in the region ever since the start of this crisis just under a month ago. And we are receiving hundreds of phone calls from people abroad and really all over the world who are desperately trying to contact their families in Tigray region to just know if they're safe. So we've set up a hotline, we've set up some services to help hopefully be able to reconnect people as it becomes possible. And our team in Mekelle has set up actually a small service where they're able to offer people just short satellite phone calls and send these short messages to their family members abroad to just say, I'm safe and well. And we're setting up the same in Sudan. But I think we forget about that oftentimes, just how important it is for people to be able to be in touch with their loved ones and the anguish that comes when you're not able to do that.
All right. Crystal Wells, thank you so much for joining us on the program today.